Struggling to dominate the gold lane? Ever wonder how top players secure their farms and turn the game around with insane damage? Hi guys, Kazuki here, and in this video we are going to be taking a look at everything you can do to be the best gold laner.
Nice.
Winning in the gold lane might seem like a challenge at first, but once you master the basics, you will be dominating in no time. It's all about scaling fast, sticking the gold, and becoming a late game beast for your team.
That was easy.
The more gold you rake up early, the quicker you will hit your power spikes and start making plays. Let's break down how you can own the gold lane. Adjust to the enemy comp. You can't play the same way every game. Your strategy should adapt based on the enemy team composition. If they have got strong burst damage, play more defensively until you can build the items you need to survive. If they are tanky, focus on building items with penetration or percentage based damage to shred through their health. Core mechanics: farm smart, survive smarter. First thing first, your priority in the gold lane is simple: farm and survive. The gold lane exists to help you stack cash fast, so you gotta make sure you are last hitting minions to maximize that income. The faster you hit your key items, the quicker you will start dealing serious damage in mid to late game. Positioning is key. Staying live means mastering your positioning. If you are up against an aggressive enemy laner or someone with a strong burst or CC, keep your distance. Don't get caught slipping. Keep yourself in a position where you can farm safely and poke when possible, but always be ready to dip out if they try to engage. Map awareness is equal to survival. Always have one eye on the minimap. If the enemy jungler is missing or they seem to be rotating to your lane, it's time to back up and play more defensively. Use bushes to hide or scout. Nothing kills your vibes faster than a surprise gank when you are focused on farming. Hero picks play the meta, dominate the lane. Not all heroes are built for gold lane. With constant buffs and nerf, the meta changes fast. You've gotta stay on top of who's strong right now and why they are popping off in the lane. Marksmen are your go-to. Marksmen like Plen, Brody, 1-1, Mia and Moscow are absolute monster in the gold lane. They scale well into the late game and dish out massive damage while staying safe from a distance. If you are looking to carry your team, picking one of those heroes will give you that firepower in team fights and keep you relevant throughout the game. Fighters can work too. Depending on matchup, fighters like Ruby or Roger can hold it down in the gold lane. These heroes thrive against squishier marksmen since they have sustain and mobility, allowing them to survive long skirmishes and deal decent damage. If the enemy picks something fragile, don't hesitate to flex a fighter and turn the tables. Early game poke, trade and farm efficiently. Your main job in the early game is simple: farm and poke. You want to build a strong foundation for the rest of the match, but that doesn't mean you should be reckless. Play safe during the first few levels, avoid risky trades, and rely on your support to help zone the enemy out. Smart poking is equal to lane control. Poke the enemy when you can, but never overcome it. Your goal is to slowly chip away at their health while keeping yours intact. Over time, this can force them to play defensively, giving you more control over the lane. Trading is a mind game. Trading effectively can give you a massive lead in the lane. If your support initiates a fight, follow up with your own damage, but make sure you are focusing on the same target. Forcing the enemy back to base or getting a kill early on will help you establish dominance in the lane and make farming a lot easier. Mid-game, focus on objectives. By the time you hit level 4 and unlock your ultimate, you should start looking for more aggressive plays. The mid-game is where the objective come into play. Securing the turtle or pushing down the first tower can snowball your team into a solid lead. Tower pressure. If you have pushed your wave to the enemy tower, don't be afraid to chip away at it while they are busy farming. Every little bit helps, and once the tower falls, you open up the map for your team, giving them more room to maneuver. Time to rotate. After taking down the first tower, don't stick around in the gold lane forever. Rotate to mid or help secure objectives like the turtle or lord. You will be more useful to your team, while still keeping up with your farm. Late game. It's all about positioning and team fights. The late game is where things get intense and your role becomes critical. As a gold laner, your job is to deal tons of damage while staying safe. Positioning is key because the enemy will likely target you first. Team fight tactics. When it comes to team fights, always stay behind your tanks and support. Let them soak up the damage while you focus on dealing consistent damage to the enemy's carries. Taking out their squishy damage dealers early can turn the tide of the fight in your favor. Kite and peel like a pro. If the enemy dives on you, don't panic. Heroes like Beatrix and Claude have mobility skills that let you kite effectively. Use your abilities to create distance and keep dealing with damage while avoiding theirs. Jungler interaction, working with and against. Your jungler can be your best friend or your worst nightmare, depending on how you play. If your jungler is nearby, you can play more aggressively, knowing you have backup. But if the enemy jungler is focusing on your lane, you need to be cautious. Communicate with pings. If you are being pressured or need help securing a kill, don't be shy. Use your pings to communicate with your jungler. Wave management is equal to lane control. Learning to manage the wave is one of the most important skills for the gold laner. Knowing when to freeze the wave near your tower or push aggressively can give you the advantage over your enemy laner. Freezing the wave near your tower makes it harder for the enemy to gank you, while pushing can apply pressure on their turret and force them to respond. Watch the enemy jungler. If the enemy jungler is camping your lane, don't overextend. Play cautiously, call for help from your team, and keep an eye on the minimap to avoid getting caught off. Awareness is everything in the gold lane. Itemization, adapt to the situation. There's no one-size-fits-all build in Mobile Legends, so make sure you are building according to the enemy composition. If you are up against heavy burst damage, picking up defensive items like Athena's shield or immortality can make all the differences between getting one shot or surviving long enough to dish out your damage. Know your power spike. Some heroes are strong early, while others shine later in the game. Understanding when your hero hits its power spikes is crucial to making the most out of your item choices. For instance, Claude becomes a beast once he gets Demon Hunter Sword and Golden Staff. So make sure you are farming efficiently to hit these power spikes as soon as possible. Mentality, stay calm, stay focused. Sometimes things won't go your way, you might lose a few early trades, get camped by the enemy jungler or have a rough early game. But don't tell. The key of being a good gold laner is staying calm and focused, even when things go south. As long as you keep farming and positioning well, you can still turn things around in the mid to late game. Play style aggressive or passive. Your play style in the gold lane should be flexible, adjusting based on the matchup and the game state. If you are up against a weaker laner, go for an aggressive approach. Poke them out of lane, force them under the tower, and deny them farm. But if you are up against a strong laner or a hard counter, play more passively and focus on farming safely. Aggressive mindset. When you have the upper hand, don't be afraid to zone your opponent away from the minion wave. Denying them gold and XP is just as valuable as killing them, and it keeps you in control of the lane. Passive when necessary. If you are facing a tough opponent, there's no shame in playing it safe. Freezing the wave near your tower and farming safely until you hit your power spike is a smart way to avoid feeding and giving the enemy a lead. At the end of the day, mastering the gold lane is all about balancing aggression with caution. Know when to farm, when to poke, and when to go all in. Communicate with your team, keep your eye on the minimap, and adapt to each game's unique challenges. So guys, what do you think? Do you find any of these tips useful? Comment down all your answers below. So that will be all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Keep supporting Kazuki Official.